Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started with that, everybody. Thanks for tuning in this evening. If we didn't meet last week, my name is Maggie Blankenship, and I'm the Assistant Director of Business Development for Programs and Events for the West Virginia Department of Agriculture. I help put on the Winter Blues Farmers Market now. I think this is my fourth year with the Department of Ag and was a vendor there for a couple years before that with a farm. So super excited about this event. Super excited to have the most vendors we've ever had. The biggest Winter Blues it continues to grow every year. So we're excited to have each of you, and I'll let Lisa introduce herself.
So, hello, I'm Lisa Jones. I'm the program coordinator with WVU Extension with the Small Farm Center. So, I've been with Extension for 10 years now, doing everything under the sun related to small farms. But one of my big areas of interest is direct to consumer marketing. I worked for the Morgantown Farmers Market and was the manager there for 4 years before I started with Extension. So I'm bringing that background in addition to working on a variety of all of their farms as a random laborer. So a little bit of everything is what I have dabbled in, but I do love farmers markets. It's one of the things that brings me a lot of joy. So I am so excited to help bring you all to the market, especially if you're first timers, and hopefully give you the best experience there. Maggie and I put a lot of pride into this particular event, and we want to make sure that you enjoy it as much as we do. So thank you for doing this particular session tonight, Maggie, and for everybody on the call. We are recording this. It will be available on YouTube later. And that way you can go back and watch it and see all of those details. Give us a couple days to get it up on the web, but we'll make sure it gets out to you.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, I'll also send the slide deck out with the recording. If any of you on the phone can't see the slides this evening, you'll get those pictures and things later on. So just no worries, we'll get you the information. We just are glad that you're here with us this evening here and asking your questions, most importantly. If you have a question this evening, feel free to pop it in the chat box. We'll monitor that. We'll also ask for Q&As at the very end, but we're just going to go over this evening a little bit of details about the Winter Blues Farmers Market, our expectations, and I'm trying to change the slide, Lisa, and it's not going. Let me see if I click the wrong control Lisa slides, it says. Okay. Okay, I'll just tell you, I guess. So this is going to be the Winter Blues Farmers Market, for those of you that don't know, concludes the West Virginia Small Farms Conference. Lisa is the chair of that conference, which is going to be February 26th through March 1st at the Charleston Coliseum. It's the 21st event for the Small Farms Conference. It actually started in Morgantown, and I think they outgrew their facility there and had to move it here to Charleston. So that's a super cool event for everything from backyard poultry to flowers to agritourism. And what grants are out there this year is all part of that conference. It is on EventLeaf, the website. If you haven't seen it floating on Facebook, you can just Google Small Farms Conference West Virginia and it comes up. The agenda is all there. I believe tomorrow is the last day to register for that conference. So check out the agenda if you haven't before, and it's super fun. You'll meet all kinds of farmers and stakeholders in the ag industry through that conference. So just a little plug for that. Okay. Winter Blues, what we're all here to talk about. Winter Blues is March 1st this year. It is a Saturday later than what we typically think. Usually it's the last Saturday of February. It just fell weird this year. So it's March 1st, 2025 from noon to 5 for public hours. We do also have a vendor to vendor shopping hour again this year from 11 to 12. So that is really for you all to be able to connect with each other and to get a chance to shop, because if it's your first time here, you'll see that it's so crazy once the doors open that you don't get a chance to step away from your booth and see what else is there. So this is really an hour that we ask you to go ahead and be set up, be ready to take payments. But we just allow the vendors to kind of shop around with each other and support your neighbor. We have a few options for load in, and I'll be sending an email out to everyone telling you what you selected for your time to set up, because I found out last week that a lot of people don't remember what they selected. So I'm going to go ahead and send that out. You'll get a correspondence from me sometime this week, but the load in options were either Friday evening from 5 to 7 p.m. or Saturday morning. There was 2 blocks. There was 8 to 9:30 or 9:30 to 11. Like I said, we would like you to be in your booth ready for shoppers at 11. So if you're in that later block, we do ask you to get there at 9:30, 10. If you're really speedy at putting your display together, then you can get there at 10:30 and be ready to roll by 11. There are some carts available for load in and setup. We do encourage you to bring your own if you have it. Dollies, carts, anything like that just makes your carrying life a little easier is encouraged for you to bring for load in and tear down. We do ask that vendors stay for the entire event. If you sell out, you can check in with the West Virginia Grown booth and see where we're at in the event. But like we said last week, the goal is not to sell out. It is to have product through the end of the event, so you're not missing out on those dollars. So we do ask you to stay for the entire event and not be packing up early or closing down early or anything like that. We want everyone to get the same opportunity no matter what time they come to the farmers market. Karen, if you need to change time slots once I send that email out to tell you what time slot you were in, just let me know, and we can look at and see if we need to get you changed. All right, Lisa. Okay. Here's some photos of last year's event. We showed some of these last week. The ones at the top are crowd overviews, and the next slide is actually that picture blown up. So you don't have to squint too hard, but these are just some really great signage, displays, abundance of product on the tables. That way you're not constantly having to restock. We have some vertical options over here in the middle on the left. That way you can have your products working up for you. Lisa talked a lot about last week of how to set up your farmers market booth and best ways to do that. So if you did not watch last week's and you're still iffy on how to set up your booth space, be sure to tune back into that YouTube link that I will send out in an email to everybody. It's also in the chat. That way you understand how you're going to set up your booth ahead of time. Go ahead, Lisa.
It looked like it was working for you. I think it's just
did I do it that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's working.
Okay, cool. Thank you. This is a better view. This is the far side closest to this is the north side of the hall. So this is closest to the loading docks if you've been there before. This is an overview from upstairs of the crowd just midways into the event. So if you've not been to the Winter Blues before, we do expect lots of people to come through the doors. And these are 25-foot aisles so that you have some knowledge of all of our aisles are at least 25 feet to help with the crowd. We did in the very back, you can see like the black curtains that kind of had the top of the black curtains. We did change that this year, so we don't have this middle row kind of cutting off the people in the back. We have switched them to run the same way as the ones up front. So I know you all can't see my mouse, but I'm like showing you. Yeah, so that one has been flipped to mimic this one up front. And so you can see all the way to the back of the room this year. So we are always improving our layout as we get more and more vendors. We can take 180 spots this year. I think we'll have a few empty spots this year, but not as many as you would think. We are almost sold out. So lots of space to move around. Okay. I saw, is there a way to confirm which spot I got? Yes, I am going to be sending out, I had to wait until everyone picked their spot, and that has not happened yet because I just got the final applications today. So I'll be sending out a map before the event of which spot you're in. But once you picked it, you're pretty much like, I'm not really changing anybody. So load-in and parking. So this takes place at the North Dock off of Lee Street. So if you are familiar with the Charleston Coliseum, it's on the back side. It's closest to the Greyhound station. It's closest to the health department parking lot. It's off Lee Street. So you'll turn into the North Dock, and there will be a big area for like semis to unload, and then there'll be a ramp up to the Coliseum to garage doors. So that's where loading takes place, unloading and loading takes place at. You picked a time slot of which you would like to come this year. I'm going to send those out via email. That way everyone remembers when we expect them. And then that way we just kind of stagger it a little bit more, and not everyone's there Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Like Lisa mentioned last week, if you have a trailer, we really encourage you to practice backing it up if you're not used to it. The loading dock this says 20 feet wide. I think it's a little bit wider than that. And it's a super tall ramp. It's pretty steep, and we do like to get 3 people across on the ramp. So we like to keep it pretty tight. That way we can get as many people unloading as we can. So please practice with those trailers. After you have unloaded your vehicle, we have a couple guys on the dock that are helping you have a cart, having carts ready, getting your stuff on the cart. And then as soon as your stuff is unloaded on the cart, we ask that you move your vehicle from the loading zone. We have the parking lot across the street for trucks and trailers at the health department. That's for trucks and trailers. There's also a parking garage right across the street, but you will have to loop the block to get back to it. So this is a really bad map, but this is the best we got. So we're talking the Charleston Coliseum is where the blue dot is. The Greyhound station is right across the Lee Street, the teal blue. It's right across, but you do have to loop the block back into that parking garage. It's free parking there. There's also another Lee Street parking garage that's just up the way. I believe it is paid parking. And then there's a third parking garage that connects to the town center. Well, and then I guess I should say there's a fourth parking garage that's actually the Charleston Coliseum's parking garage, but that one is typically full of wrestlers because we are there the same weekend as the wrestling tournament, and they get there super early as well. And that one usually has a line. So my recommendation is to, if you have a truck or trailer, we'll get you in the health department parking lot. If you have a van or are just a single truck or something like that, we'll get you, my recommendation is the Greyhound, which is the teal blue. So you'll loop the block back around and literally park across the street. And then that way, when you come out of the parking garage to unload, you're just coming back across the street. So handicap parking options, I would suggest the Coliseum, the Coliseum's parking garage at that point, because that's going to be the easiest to get in and out of the Coliseum. But it does, like I said, it does fill up, but that would be my suggestion. The health department on the map is in between the teal blue and that pink lodging. So it's like just across, like it's just diagonally from the loading dock. So it's pretty close. So we do ask you to move your vehicle. We are working with the Civic Center to make sure there's not as many cars this year in the loading dock. The wrestling tournament does kind of bog that down a little bit, but we are going to have better security out there this year to keep that pretty clear for you all to be backing in and unloading and things like that. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything on this last slide. Yeah, bring your own dollies, collapsible wagons, carts. Space is limited and on a first come, first serve basis. So like when you get there, just be patient. People are unloading as fast as they can, and we're getting them on and off the ramp as fast as we can to get those unloaded. Someone asked last week, can we go through the front part of the Coliseum? The Coliseum does not allow that. Those doors are locked, so I would not come up front and expect just to wheel in one cart through the main lobby. So everybody needs to go in and out the north loading dock. So when you get there, like I said, there will be people on the ramp helping you unload. And as soon as you get inside, we'll have people there to just check in with us, say, hey, I'm Tarbelly's barbecue sauce and I'm here. We just want to check to make sure that we know that you got there, so we're not waiting on you at the end of the evening. We'll give you your booth number and location. If you don't have the map with you, you will get it ahead of time, but we'll have your booth number that we can give you, and then each table will be numbered according to the booth numbers that were on the map that you picked out. So if you have any questions, we'll have a check-in table. There'll be plenty of staff around, Extension and Department of Ag, if you need any help or have any questions. We'll also have the Wi-Fi information up front if you need or want to set that up early, which we highly recommend for your Square or Clover systems. And then we did ask if you ordered an extra table. All of that should be set up before you get there, but if you are missing a table or don't have a trash can or have electricity concerns, anything like that, be sure to find one of us and let us know. If you're utilizing a Civic Center cart, we ask that you unload it as quick as you can. I know that it's hard to like get your tables moved the way you want, put the tablecloth on and get all of your products on there, but we do ask that if you're using the Civic Center carts, just keep in mind that other people are waiting on those. So we try to work as efficiently as possible. Take advantage of your 10 by 10 booth space to showcase your business and your products. You're allowed to rearrange your table, move it around, set up more tables if you brought them. You know, the space is yours. That 10 by 10 is yours. We do ask that you don't put anything to block the line of sight of your neighbors. So nothing, you know, super tall that's going to obstruct the view of your neighbor. We do ask that you don't use pop-up canopy tents. We're not allowed to use those in this space. So be sure, we shared last week some S-hooks that work well for banners to work on the back or to hang on the back of the cloths. If anyone needs that link this week, just pop it in the chat, and when I get a second, I will throw that link back in. They're off Amazon. That's what we use for our West Virginia grown signs, and this year we're doing Veterans to Hero signs. So they work super well, and they fit the pipes really well. So you can use your back curtain area for hanging t-shirts, banners, anything lightweight. Nothing, I wouldn't use anything like super heavy, because you are sharing that with the person on the other side, and we don't want to create some American Funny home video content and like tip the whole thing. So I will put that in the chat in just a second.
And I'm going to chime in really quick.
Yeah.
The tents in the past, we have had issues with folks bringing tents that were too big, like canopies that you would take to a typical farmer's market that are too big. We understand they're amazing for lighting, but the fire marshal does not love them. They say it's a fire hazard. If forever there was a reason that the water system were to go off, like the extinguishers, your tent is going to block out any extinguisher activity. So they really don't like those. We really discourage you from bringing them. So find another creative avenue, please.
Yeah, we've had people just bring like a singular pipe. So if you're wanting to kind of create like a side, something to hang, then they're using a pipe and then stringing a string from their pipe to the back and hanging like cotton candy and lightweight things like that. So that you can do, but the tents just make it not safe, and we want to keep everybody safe. Just some regulatory reminders that Winners Blues is a registered farmers market. It's subject to all standard farmers market regulations. So you have to follow the sampling guidelines, and you have to have everything labeled correctly. And that's why we ask for everything to be sent in product wise, is so we don't have any surprises once we get there. So if you are trying to bring a new item or anything like that, it's probably not the market to do that. If you haven't already talked to me at this point, because we do check for your vendor permit, process authority, all of those fun things. You do not have to have a hand washing station, because there's hand washing stations around. So there's enough bathrooms that we don't need to set up extra hand washing stations. If your product is meat, eggs, cottage cheese, whatever, anything that's time or temperature controlled, please monitor that as you would at a regular farmer's market. Just make sure we do have electric if you asked for electric, and make sure that, you know, your freezers are staying good and all that stuff. We will be passing out evaluations and sales report questionnaires. Lisa and I talked a little bit on this last week. It's just a simple survey. It asks you your total revenue, if you have any feedback for us, things like that. I just want to like air this out there. We don't use these numbers for anything other than tracking our data and making sure that everything is as successful as it can be. So we just use these numbers to make sure for like farmers market reasons, and to just share that, hey, last year we created $142,000 in 5 hours for small farmers. It's just a broadcast number. That's all that these numbers mean to us. We don't do anything else with them other than just track some data of where money's being spent, how much it's being spent, things like that. You are allowed to complete those anonymously. It does help us if you do put your name on it, because we do map out how much each person made and where they're located at on the map, just to show vendors that it doesn't really matter where you're at in the farmers market, that everyone has the same opportunity for sales. So I already said you're only permitted to bring the items that were on your welcome email. So if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. Take advantage of your market vendor to vendor shopping hour. Talked about this. These are just general tips. If you like someone else's booth, take a picture of it. You know, they're not gonna say anything. If you like how they're displaying something and maybe you have a similar item and think, oh, that's a good way, or that's a really cool shelf. I did this at a vendor fair that I was at. This lady had really cool collapsible Amazon shelves, and I was like, oh, I need those. And so I just took a quick picture of how they were displaying things, what signage. Don't be afraid to ask, hey, where did you get your banner, or who designed that for you? Because then we're just creating those networking opportunities, and those people get kudos as well. Cross promote your neighbors. If you have seasonings and sauces, people did this last year, a seasoning for a meat or something like that, you can cross promote, hey, have you tried this with that? Honey and coffee is a big one that we see, or candies and confectionaries for gift baskets. Don't be afraid to sell somebody something and then send them to your neighbor. We're all about community over competition around here. Just a few more tips and reminders. Be sure to have plenty of shopping bags, probably more than what you think that you'll need. We do give out reusable shopping bags at the beginning of the farmers market. Last year, we gave out 806 minutes. So they don't last long. So make sure that you're bringing enough bags for your products. We are going to make some social media posts to remind people to bring reusable shopping bags and things like that, but make sure that you're bringing some for your customers as well. Even if you're just recycling your Walmart bags and have a bag full of bags, just bring what you got. Bring more change than what you think you will need. Someone said last week, like 3 times as much as what you typically bring to a farmer's market. A lot of people go to the ATM right before and just get 20s out. And so if your product is $6, you know, that's 14, that's 4 ones and a 10 at least that they're going to need back. So just be thinking about that. Also be thinking about how you're pricing things and what change you'll need. Try to round to the dollar if you can, and not use coin change. There's not a place at the Civic Center to get change. Department of Ag doesn't have change at the West Virginia Grown booth. We have to bring our own as well. So just plan ahead and bring lots of change. We talked about this last week pretty hard. Cash Card, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, however you can accept payment, do it. You'll thank yourself later. Have signs. I did pull this out. Let's see if I can. This was a sign that I created for my vendor fair that I did. So I just printed off my QR code and put it in a picture frame. And I had this setting at the register. So it just said, scan me. This is my Venmo one. And people were very quickly able to pay, and it made my line go a lot faster. So highly recommend little tips and tricks like that. I got that template off Canva for free. So canva.com, payment, payment sign, I think is what I typed in, and I just put my QR code in it. Super simple. You don't even have to put it in a picture frame if that's too much for you. You could just print it and tape it on your table. Bring plenty of assistants and helpers. We have like we said, we have a large crowd. If you are doing sampling and checking out, make sure, if you can, to have just a couple people doing sampling and just a couple people checking out, or having everybody that's at your booth able to take payment of some sort. That way things just move that much faster. Yeah. It also allows some people to take a break and use the restroom, get a drink of water, and replenish your booth, because the more you have out, the more that will sell. If you sign up for a lunchbox, we'll have those at the West Virginia Grown booth at 11 o'clock. So those will be available for those that ordered them. Can the sample people move throughout the venue, or do they have to stay near the booth? I would stay near your booth, because if you're like a couple aisles over and you're sampling sausage, and then the person is walking around and they're just going to buy sausage from the next person that they come to. So I would stay near your booth. The lunch boxes were on the application, Natasha, when you originally signed up for your Winter Blues spot. If you missed it and want to add a lunch box, shoot Madison an email. I'm going to put her email in the chat, and we'll get you added, and you can bring money day. We'll get your money taken for the lunchbox. They were $25 a lunch. It's just a box lunch from the convention center, but sometimes that's a little easier than going out and trying to find lunch for that day. You can also pack a lunch. That's also, bring a small cooler and some drinks and a sandwich or something, pepperoni roll. The most beloved thing that everyone is here to know, this is the Wi-Fi code for the day of the event. If you want to take a picture of it with your cell phone tonight, we'll also have it at the check-in station. We'll be walking around trying to help you get set up if you can't, but it's just very simple, all lowercase, Winter Blues 25. Okay, just giving everybody like a quick second, take a picture of it if they needed to. Okay, tear down. Tear down's probably a little bit more chaotic than load in is, because everybody's trying to leave at the same time and there's only so many carts. So I just ask everybody to please be patient, that you're on the dock and off the dock as fast as you can. This is when your own carts really come in handy, because you're not standing around waiting for one. But we do ask that your survey is turned in. We'll have a basket of them on our West Virginia Grown booth. You can just toss it in that, but we do ask that your survey is turned in before you leave. That helps us be able to see if anyone's still around, that you've left, you've turned in your survey, had a great time, and you're gone. Okay. I didn't put a picture on here, but like we said last week, WVDA was going to be in West Virginia grown vests this year. We're all going to be matching. Feel free to flag any of us down, Extension or Department of Ag. We'll all have logo gear on. We are super excited for this event. We're all there's a few new people with the department, but they'll get you in the hands that you need. We are here to help. So if you need us, let us know, flag us down. Our West Virginia grown booth is by the front doors. So that way, as soon as people come in or as they're leaving, you'll be able to find us. But I think with that, I will open the floor to questions to what you have, but these are just kind of some of our expectations. So everyone's on the same page for Winter Blues, whether it's your first time or your fifth time. This is most of our departments, this is our favorite event of the year. So it's a very fast-paced event. It's lots of people. I can't wait. Lisa and I are both so giddy over the fact that we're going to have a hard number of how many people come through the door this year. That way we can help you all plan a little better, because it's just been a random guess for the years previous. But let's answer some questions. And if you've been to the event before and you have a better answer, or you want to tune in, feel free to unmute yourself. This is your all's time to get your questions answered.